a guy just earlier. I just spoke with a young man this week, and I wished him a happy Sunday. And he says, "What's so happy about Sunday?" And I told him, I said, "Try waking up without one of them, and you will see." So health is one of the most more important things in our life, uh, and now that I'm a senior citizen, uh, I am trying to be more mindful of you know my health, what I do. I try to exercise at least a couple of times a week and more when I'm not busy. Uh, so what I want to do is just encourage everybody to stay healthy. Uh, I guess I did have a couple of villains that happened in my life. One was the diabetes, which came at the age of about 60, and I'm 69 now, so I can. A lot of people don't like to talk about how old they are, and I guess I can understand, because sometimes when you get older, things don't work quite as well as they used to. But it's a challenge that we have to face, and if we are more disciplined, we can kind of control our health. Today, I was listening to a young lady on the radio, and she was saying that it's not necessary to get sick and die. You just want to get old and die. You don't want to get sick and old and die. And by doing many of the right things, you can as one of my heroes, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. She went to a program one Sunday evening, and after the program was over, she says, "I'm gonna go home and catch a nap, get me a nap." Well, she went home, and that was the last thing she did, got a nap. But she was probably 85 years old, which is today in time, a lot of people don't even think 85 is old. They trying to pass 85. Matter of fact, Queen Elizabeth, who is 95, she just had a big day welcoming the President of the United States. And one of my mentors, Miss Mabel Butler, she just had her 95th birthday. So it's not necessarily, I mean, you just want to try to stay healthy and do the right things to stay healthy. And Miss Jennifer has been talking about that. We had a nice conversation about that. So I guess now what we'll do, Miss Jennifer, if you want, you said you had a couple of slides on diabetes. If you want to introduce yourself and share your slides with us, we're ready for that.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of this group this evening. Want to thank Ted for allowing me to be here. I promote health and wellness, and so I actually have a business called Tree of Life, So Right Enterprise. And what that business is about promoting health and wellness, physical health, spiritual health, and academic health as well. So I love talking about health. I've been doing health for years. I actually worked in the healthcare profession as a registered nurse for well over 35 years. So I've seen a lot of sick people, but I really enjoy promoting health and wellness. So when Ted told me that, that he's has diabetes and has had a little bout with some other health issues, I thought, what better way to talk about writing your own health story? And so one day I want to write a book. I have not written one as of yet, but it is my goal, it is my prayer, hopefully this year, that I'll get something on paper that I can publish. So what I want to share with you really briefly, and it's just an overview. Many people know about diabetes, so it's not like it's a brand new topic or anything like that, but it really is about looking at it from a different perspective, more from the standpoint of from writing your own health story. So I'm going to put this slide up, but if I were to ask you, What are you doing to write your own health story? What are you doing to write your own health story? What would you say? So I would suggest that you write down three things, and that is how to prevent diseases, how to preserve your health, and also how to prolong my life. And so the stories that Ted told regarding the people that were, um, of age, and how they survived and lived to be of age is a good lead in as to how we can also choose to live healthy. And so I'm going to share this screen with you, but it's really all about what you want to do to live well. So the first thing is with diabetes, we all know, and I'll talk with Ted and during my conversation as I do this presentation, we know that diabetes comes about from having too much sugar in the blood, and we know that. But by the end of this presentation, I want you to think about, if you have diabetes, how do I control it better? And if I don't have diabetes, how do I prevent from getting diabetes? What do I need to do to take charge of my health? Because oftentimes we think about things that chronic diseases, like say hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, and many times we think there's nothing we can do about it, but there's many things that we can do about it. So we want to talk about how we can control our own health. So what you really need to know is how to practice healthy living, preserve your health, and enhance your quality of life. Many people think because you get old that you must be sick, and that is not the case. Really, what you want to do is be able to age well. And that's, you want to age in such a way that you stay well the entire time that you are upon this earth. So when you have too much sugar in the blood, oftentimes it's what we eat. It means that our body is having difficulty when it breaks down the sugar, actually absorbing the sugar. And as you know, all of us need food for fuel to give us energy. But when we have diabetes, the food in our body, oftentimes that energy is just sitting there. The pancreas is trying to release insulin, but it's almost like an imbalance between what the insulin comes out of the body and what sugar is in the body. And so when Ted said that he has had diabetes for many years, I do know that diabetes, number one, is preventable. And I also know that it is reversible, meaning that you can actually exercise more to use up more energy to try to balance the insulin and the sugar that's in the blood. And so when we talk about diabetes, it's not a bad thing, but it's something that we need to think about how you can control it better. Because we know with diabetes, there's type 1, that's when the pancreas is not working well. Type 2, and that's when there's just too much sugar in the blood and there's not enough insulin. Sometimes people are pre-diabetic, and then there's times that women, when they're pregnant, they also get diabetes just during the time that they are pregnant. But once they have the childbirth, the diabetes goes away. So there's different types, and they're all treated just a little bit differently. But I want to focus on the pre-diabetes, because sometimes when we hear the word pre-diabetes, we think that there's nothing we can do. But when you look at this chart, it's showing the fasting blood sugar after you eat and 2 to 3 hours after you eat. And so as you can see, the normal range is 80 to 100 when you're fasting, 170 to 200, and then 120 to 140. So when you're writing your story about health and wellness, when you look at this chart, it really should trigger you to say, what can I do to bring my health more in alignment? What are the natural numbers? What are the normal numbers that I want it to be in? And so many times when people have diabetes, unless you know these numbers, it's difficult to manage it. So it's always good to know what your blood sugar is. And I always advise people that sometimes we say, well, I'm going to eat whatever I want, and then I'm going to take the insulin, or then I'll take my pill. That is not good judgment when it comes to writing your own story about health and wellness, because there's times when you do that over and over and over again that the body becomes accustomed to depending on a medication rather than regulating its own self. But this chart is really important that you know exactly what your sugar should be during these different intervals. So we know that type 2 diabetes is preventable, but there are some risk factors. Sometimes the age, the family history, if you're overweight, poor nutrition, your race, all of those are factors. We can't change our age. Sometimes we can't change the family history. We can change how much we weigh. We can change our nutrition, We can't change our race. So when we look at this, what is it that we can change and we should change? So some of the signs and symptoms: frequent urination, thirsty, weight loss, hunger, blurred vision, numbness. If you're very tired, dry skin, sores that heal slowly. And then if you have more infections than usual, those are early warning signs that should not be ignored. And so when you're writing your story of health and wellness, it's important that you go to the doctor at least once a year, get an annual checkup, get your blood work done, get a urine test done, and any other test that pertains to your age group. It's important that you do that so that you can actually have a good idea of where you are from a health perspective. But what you need to know is how you care for your body will determine how your body cares for you. So we can't treat it any kind of way and expect it to function at its very best, because how we care for it will actually in turn determine how it will care for us. So we know about measuring blood sugar, normal glycemia, hyperglycemia, hypoglycemia. The most dangerous, if it's not normal, is hypo. You don't want your blood sugar to drop below 40 or even 60 for that matter, because when it's dropping that low, that means the body, every organ in the body is struggling to survive. Your heart, your lungs, your kidneys. And so it's important that you always, if you're diabetic, carry something in your pocket, purse, wherever, sugar-wise, candy, something that if your blood sugar begins to drop and you begin to feel dizzy, lightheaded, you can actually bring your sugar up quickly. About a year ago, my sister was in the car with me. She's a diabetic, and she began to sweat profusely, but she wasn't talking. And I looked at her and I said, "What is your blood sugar?" And she checked it. It was 30. She had no candy.
Wow.
I had no candy. Her grandson, who was in the back seat, had no candy. And fortunately, we were right across the street from a Taco Bell. We were getting ready to go through the light when I noticed this. And we went to the Taco Bell and was able to get her something to eat. But if we did not, we were in a crisis. So it is a crisis. It is a critical time if your blood sugar drops low. And again, you don't want that to happen. So you take all the precautions that you can when you know they have hypertension or diabetes or any type of medical condition, so that you can always respond in an emergency, because we were in an emergency situation at that time. So we want to talk about some of the complications. We know that it's a serious problem. You can have heart disease, you can lose your vision, kidney disease, and even lose your limbs. And a lot of times kidney disease comes from, of course, the high levels of sugar, but the medication sometimes that they give you can affect your kidneys. And so it's important that you always drink plenty of water, flush your body out, because many times being on medications for extended periods of time can affect your kidneys. And then loss of limb is a major complication from diabetes, because of poor healing, oftentimes that may occur. And then we know that insulin in the bottle or the pill or a pump are ways that diabetes is treated. And then, but self-management of diabetes is really the area that I want to focus on. And that's what I focus on when I talk in my platforms, is really lifestyle changes, making small lifestyle changes, manageable changes. You know, you can't do it all at once, but you can maybe avoid eating those sugars and those cakes and those cookies, get some fruit instead, you know, walking more after a meal to help burn those calories and use that energy. Those are small changes that can be done that can help to manage diabetes. Eating healthier and nutritious foods. Sometimes people say, "I'm going to die of something." I don't believe that. I believe that we're going to die of something, but let's die of being healthy and taking care of the best bodies that God has given to us. You know, more physical activity a day. I started jumping on my trampoline, you know, 5 minutes a day, just a short time. And that's very helpful with some type of physical activity. And I can't stress managing stress. Many of us have stressors in our lives that will push our sugar up. It's not always what we eat. Sometimes it's the things that we're around and what's causing us stress. And so it's often important that we identify the stressors and manage them as quickly as possible so that you can keep your blood sugar within range. So we want to let food be our medicine and medicine be our food. Many diseases, as I mentioned, are reversible. I tell the story that I have hypertension, or I had hypertension, to the point that I had to be hospitalized. They thought I was going to have a stroke. And it was simply by changing my diet that I was able to manage my hypertension. And I no longer take any medications for hypertension. But again, it was letting my food be my medicine and my medicine be my food. More veggies, fruits, protein, whole grains, water, less processed foods. I would advise you to read the label, read the label, read the label of anything that comes in a box or can, because many things have sugar in them that you may not even realize have sugar in them, and salt of high content that you may not realize. So sometimes I'm standing in the grocery store reading the label because I want to make sure that whatever I put in my body, it's going to give me the nutrition that I need. Trans fat, margarines, different butters and stuff like that. Those things harden the arteries and make it difficult for the blood to function through those vessels. Sugary drinks, I was reading today about, how they say this drink has zero sugar in it. Well, they have, oftentimes it has some type of artificial sugar in it. And those artificial sugars like Splenda and Equal and Sweet and Low, they actually are sometimes 100 to 200 times sweeter than regular table sugar. And so they'll say zero sugar, but it's very sugary. And alcohol is also something that we want to stay away from if we want to stay. So we want to eat to live and live to eat. And so those are the ways that we can manage our health and write our story. Every day we have a choice of how we want to live. We can either live healthy or we can live unhealthy. It's really up to us. And so get moving, start slow, do what you enjoy, exercise 30 minutes, a day, 5 days a week, and then manage your stress. And by doing that, you can actually help manage your blood sugar. One thing, writing as writers, that when you're writing, that's probably something you absolutely enjoy. And that actually can help you relax and manage your stress as well. I enjoy journaling, and that's also a way that I manage my stress. But there are various ways that you can choose to manage your stress so that you can also manage your blood sugar levels. So diabetes does endanger your health. And as I said, my purpose for giving this talk tonight is to say, how can you prevent disease? How can you preserve your health, and how can you prolong your life? And so as you have books to read, you have write and read, we want to make sure that you prevent the diabetes or hypertension or high cholesterol or anything else that would possibly invade our body, so that you can continue to write those stories, not only of a healthy life, but stories that you have in your mind that you want to write. Thank you again for the opportunity to present. Begin to write your own health story, and just write one thing that you will do tonight that you will better care for yourself. Again, thank you, Ted, for the opportunity.
Oh, it's absolutely, absolutely awesome. Because I think being disciplined about what you eat is a big thing. I mean, I was pretty healthy for a long time. I think I'm healthy other than the diabetes, but the discipline portion of it, I think sugar is kind of like it's kind of like a habit forming, and it's very addictive. And when you love that, when you love sugar, you're not necessarily you love sugar. So, say for example, one of my bad things is chocolates, and a lot of the research says that chocolate is one of the major, how you say, addicting things. Chocolate, and like sodas. I would even call them great sodas, because it's nothing no better in the world, I think, than a nice Coke. Or a good nice piece of cake, and when you have eaten these things for years, I like to say from the age of about 25 to 45, I was like a health nut. But once I passed 45, I think I don't, for some reason, I I backslid, and I started eating all the good, wonderful food that I had, weaned myself away from. And I fell in love with chocolate chip cookies and all that kind of stuff. Well, when I got, maybe 58, 59 years old, I caught a cold one time, and I was just, doing cough syrups and cough drops and peppermint. And then I got all kind of dizzy, and so I called my doctor, And believe it or not, my doctor was talking about he was going on a vacation. So I could not go to the doctor right away. And my sister says, you sound like you got diabetes. And I said, what? He said, yeah. So anyway, after that, my doctor came back and put me on some meds, and I got better. Immediately got better. However, I would like to get off the meds, and that's one of my goals, and that's one of my goals for wanting to talk about health, and because I don't know, I don't see why people have to take all these meds. And, I understand that it keeps the sugar down, but I'm quite sure if there was a particular food, there's probably some food that you could probably eat all the time that we don't focus on. I listened to one announcement that said that the sugar industry was maybe a $300 billion industry, a $300 billion industry. And so, with that kind of money receiving that kind of money, people don't want you to stop. Well, one thing I do say about American medicine is not to get you to change, it just gets you to feel better. They don't want you to really actually stop, and that's it. If you got high blood pressure or sugar or whatever, they don't necessarily want you to stop. They just want to give you something to make you feel better. And in order to stop the change things, is really, really it'll take a lot of discipline to do that, and so as I'm getting older, I just wanted to talk about that, and what are you going to do to stay healthy, and so and that's something that I think about, and I would like to thank Jennifer for her presentation, which I thought it was what they say spot on, because a lot of that stuff is what people deal with on a daily basis. But you just got to have that discipline. You have to have that discipline. You have to pass that 7-Eleven or that ice cream shop. Now I don't even bring ice cream in the house, because if I bring say for instance, if I bring a box of those ice cream sandwiches, I like ice cream sandwiches, and now I may just buy one while I'm out somewhere, but I won't bring them home, because if they're there sitting up in that refrigerator, that is the biggest temptation. So, that is one thing that you don't, if you know it's not good for you, do not buy it, and don't save it. And because, you just don't want to have those triggers, that gonna throw you off course. So I don't know if anybody else online have some health challenges that may want to speak about how they go about controlling particular different things. Uh, something, and anybody could break in when they want to. Some things, I guess you can't control. Uh, you know, uh, my friend Jesse there, he's been battling cancer, prostate cancer, which is a big thing with men once they get 65 years old, up in that range, man. I mean, it's just about as bad as breast cancer for men. And I I don't necessarily know what brings on uh, I don't know what brings on prostate cancer, because just like my friend Jesse, he doesn't smoke or drink, do any of that kind of stuff, but it has jumped on him, but he's in remission. And so I mean, it's just basically um, trying to do strong, be prayed up and all that kind of stuff. So
And I would say that in terms of eating, making sure you have the amount of nutrition, for example, like vitamin D deficiency can open you up for prostate cancer. And I think that where mine came from, because 10 years ago, I was found with a very significant vitamin D. They've gotten more advanced that when you go to your doctors, for regular tests, for a long time, they might even check vitamin D. Now they check vitamin D, they check vitamin B12. And I just went to my doctor yesterday. I was taking a B12 supplement and found out that by taking that supplement, I was overdoing it. I came out high. So even taking supplement, that's a change of stuff. Even taking supplements don't necessarily make you healthy. You can take too much of that stuff. I also learned that vitamin E can also be a higher risk. It just depends on what your sources of information is. So the other thing I would say is we don't get much training on how to eat, what to eat. I happen to be married, and you have to have a spouse that's either the spouse or the other person has got to be up on, these are the foods that's got to come in this house to take care of you, balance. And everybody is not into that. You know what I mean? That's a thing to be learned. And when I get to be, and even getting back to the supplements, some people are masters of this stuff. And I'm beginning to, like I said, do you overdo it? So it is a complicated. Now, I would like to hear more about how you reverse diabetes. As part of my cancer treatment, I'm going through what they call hormone therapy, which testosterone, male testosterone, is a drug that feeds the prostate cancer. Well, it turned on my own research, and this is kind of getting off the subject, but you had to do your research. Here I'm getting treated for this. I got a urologist involved. I got a radiation oncologist. None of those people give me any advice on what to eat or what supplements. They just treat me. I read up on it, and then I went to my primary care physician to talk to her about this on my own after doing some research. And I learned that the hormone treatment caused a spike in blood sugar. And sure enough, I was pre-diabetic at 5.9. And when I went to her after getting this hormone, I jumped to 6.1. Mm-hmm. She put me on a drug that brought me down to 5.7. Now that's a temporary thing because I'm going to be a diabetic on this hormone therapy. You know what I mean? So there's just so much to learn out here, But like I said, sometimes when you're getting treated for stuff and taking all these medicines, they don't tell you how to alter your diet and things like that to protect yourself from the treatment. Medical treatment can cause serious other health issues.
I agree with you. I think that, when you write your own health story, you do your research, because the doctors are not going to tell you the natural ways to care for your body. They're going to give you a pill or shot or whatever. And that's exactly, because that's what they know. And so there's so much natural treatment out there. And I'm not saying don't take medicine. All I'm saying is know why you're taking what you're taking, know what the side effects may be. And then that way you can make a decision whether or not you want to take it or not. Vitamin D deficiency is a huge, huge, huge topic all by itself. I'm actually working with a physician on that topic. He's done a lot of research on it. very concerned about, especially the African Americans, because we have that deficiency. Most of us have it. So having supplements is important, but knowing how much to take is also important. Everything in moderation. So too much of a good thing can be really bad for the body, but you have to know your body and know how to respond. So that's important that, that you've been doing your research. And then also, when we talk about reversing diabetes, it's really, many times we're not exercising to the same level that we're putting food in. So that in itself, we're not burning enough of the sugar off of our body. We're eating, and then even if we take a pill, we have an exercise. So that doesn't give the body a balance. And you have to think about, when they give you a pill, it's the same pill they're going to give you, me, and everybody on this platform, but we're different sizes. Our bodies function different. So again, not to say that, it's just a matter of really asking the right questions. Why am I taking this pill? How long will I need to take it? What do I expect it to do? I mean, I'll give a short story. Years ago, I was having severe swelling in every joint in my body. I was a young lady at the time. And I went to the doctor. They ran a bunch of tests on me, and they told me that I would have to take 3 medicines for the rest of my life because I had fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis. They gave me a whole list of diagnoses, right? And so I was young, and I didn't want to take any medicines, even though I'm a nurse. So I'm driving home, and I said, okay, Lord, I don't want to take anything for the rest of my life because you didn't make these pills. And that's how I talked to the Lord. And I'm pulling on my street, and he said, I want you to take dairy out of your diet. Well, I love them, the cheese like everybody else, and the milk and everything, right? And so, but because when you're in pain and when you're sick, you'll do anything, right? Not anything, but you'll do what will help you feel better. So I took everything out. I actually came home and threw it all out. I did. And within probably 3 weeks, I started feeling better. The swelling went down. It went away. And I tell people, I went back to eating dairy again, and it came back worse than the first. I said, enough. And I have not eaten dairy since, because I just didn't want, I didn't like the way it treated my body. So your body, everybody's body's different. Everybody didn't have to give up dairy, but my body says no to dairy. And I know that. And because I wanted to be well, and I'm telling you, I believe in my heart of hearts, had I not obeyed, I would have been disabled. I would have been in a wheelchair, or maybe not even here, because my body just was in severe inflammation. I couldn't hold a pen. I couldn't hold a pot. I couldn't hold anything in my hands because of the inflammation. So all I'm saying is, seek counsel from people who know, seek God for wisdom, and then, and then just follow.
Well, I know, like when I first got diabetes, I didn't want to take anything, because I was, I was, how you say, I saw all my family taking pills after pills, and I used to pick at them, because I just thought they were taking the pills just because the doctor was giving them to them, but once I got diabetes, the doctor put me on something called metformin, and that's probably the first drug they put you on. And however, this darn metformin had me going to the bathroom like I had to think it. If I thought it, I better be heading toward that darn bathroom. And so, so I went, I sought this doctor out because he looked like me. I mean, he had a skin color like me. So I said, okay, I'll go get this doctor here because, I want a relationship with somebody, that I could really, really kind of trust and talk to and stuff like that. But I told the doctor, I says, this metformin got me going to the bathroom without notice. And he said, well, your system needs to adapt to it. And I say, I just don't have that kind of time. I mean, so I actually stopped taking the medicine. I stopped taking the metformin, and I went back to some other drug, but it wasn't that much of it, low dosage. And anyway, I think, that was probably one of the reasons that led me to that stroke, because I wasn't taking the metformin because of the bathroom issue. And then later on, I did get like a minor stroke. Fortunately, it did not cripple me. Like I see does a lot of people. Just got a little numbness in my side and shoulder a little bit. But just how you say, not researching and not trying to be disciplined is just one of those things that when you get older, you have to try to be disciplined, and just don't, how you say, American medicine, as I said, they just give you that medicine to decrease the symptoms and stuff like that. They don't give you that medicine to end it, because if they end it, they probably they won't make money. So just be careful. I see we have Miss Bernice Edwards in the house. Hi, Miss Bernice. She's been a nurse for a lot of years. Would you like to add something?
Well, I really enjoyed everything that I've heard, and I'm glad that I tuned in for it. And I have been diagnosed as pre-diabetes myself, but I do keep aware of what I eat, and I'm not as active as I should be, but I know that I should, and it's just a matter of me doing it. And I am thankful I've been around here for 82 years, and I thank the Lord for that. And so I know that, being active is good, maintaining the diet, and having, healthy attitude, positive attitude and stuff, and to do the things that we can change. There are things that we can't, like the age, the race, hereditary and stuff like that. And I do, well, my family, there's no diabetes in my immediate family, but my mother and father didn't have that, but I have some cousins that does, and I had an aunt that did. So, it's there. And so I'm aware of that. So I keep that in mind also. But I do have one of the other problems that I have is my father had kidney disease, and I was told not too long, about a couple of years ago, that I do have stage 3 kidney disease. So I'm aware of that. So, I try to keep hydrated, drinking the water. I don't drink as much as I should, but I'm not on any medication for that, or there's nothing. So I'm aware of that. So I'm aware of the numbers. What the lab numbers. So I watch, the blood pressure and the GFR and blood sugars and stuff like that. So I try to keep on touch with that. So that's important.
As a senior, do you have any kind of exercise regimen?
No, I should walk more. I don't have any problem walking or anything like that. It's just a matter of getting out there doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no, physical limitations, anything like that. So I just need to get out and walk.
Oh, okay. All right. Dr. Yvette, would you like to add something?
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, first of all, Happy New Year. I haven't seen Mr. Collins in so long. I think it was 2020, maybe January 2020. Um,
Right.
and so getting this invitation, I marked my calendar. I wasn't sure what the topic was going to be, but I'm glad that I was able to tune in. I'm glad to have met those of you who are here and our esteemed presenter. Lots of really good information, and just to hear from a variety of perspectives, such as male, female, young, aging. All of that is really good information. And one point that was made that I would like to echo is we really don't have a lot of medical professionals who will take the time to tell us this is what you need to feed your body upon diagnosis in order to regain your health. Too many of them are not doing that. And it is important that we get the message out that what we feed our bodies does help us to heal, sometimes even more than the medicine. So thank you for the invitation, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Mm-hmm. No, I want to get personal. I know you were taking care of somebody of last time I talked to you.
My father,
Uh-huh. How's he
my
doing?
father, he's doing a whole lot better, thank you.
Oh,
My father
wow.
was in an automobile accident,
Uh-huh.
and he was in a different state. So when we went to visit him, we wound up bringing him back to Florida because of the very thing we're talking about. The medical professionals that he was seeing were just loading him up with medicine after medicine, prescription after prescription, and the side effects were horrendous. So we basically had to put him through a regimen to just relieve his body of all of those toxic chemicals and feed him nutritious foods because he wasn't getting that either. So,
Mm,
you all are speaking to some very real issues.
wow. Wow. Well, that is very interesting. All right. Well, I guess we will, Jennifer, if you had anything to say on the health issue, would you like to say?
Mr. Ted,
Yeah.
I would like to let you know that my parents did live, both of them lived to be 95 years old, and
Mm-hmm. Wow.
they didn't really take any medications at all. Only my father, in the later years took something for blood pressure, and my
Mm-hmm.
mom, but other than that, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to take any medications at all. So
Mm-hmm.
I was glad to see that,
Yeah. 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 Well, that's what young ladies say. You can grow old and die of old age instead of a disease.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to know. And basically, as I was stated a little earlier, the discipline is discipline.
Yeah,
And if you can get,
they just died of just really, like you say, of old age. That was all. They were never in bed or anything like that. They were never bedridden. They just, they just got sick like within, the last 6 months or something like that. But they were never
right.
in bed or anything.
Right. I remember when I was a young man, we were maybe 20, 21 years old. We went to work tearing down an old house, and this older gentleman, he was like 75 years old, and we were just 21, 22. He could work circles around all of us, And some people, I guess they have good genes. Good genes is a great part of it, and not abusing your body, which happens, because we do have a lot of issues. There are a lot of issues come up in life, and health has to do with all aspects of life, even your mental health. Sometimes, if people might get on drugs or and that for them for the environment that they are in, I think that the repression, we as Black folks have a lot of repression, meaning that a lot of stuff that we could bring out, we don't bring out, and you know, like somebody was saying about the stress, a lot of stuff we could bring out, but we don't bring it out, and we kind of live with it. And it's kind of undergirding, you know, like the high blood pressure. You could be thinking about this and that, and you know, you may not have a way to express things, and you know, that's how kind of how those silent killers come up. And even today, um, this mental illness is really, 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 really taking over our community. Uh, you know, and people are just not thinking, making bad decisions. You know, and it's not only the Trumpers that you know, that are making 1 and 1 equal 3. A lot of young Black folks are making 1 and 1 equal 3, and so you know, they're just not making rational decisions, and they don't make decisions that add up. You know, and so we do have a lot of health issues that that we need to be dealing with. Our community needs to deal with, and you know, I am so happy and elated that we have nurses like Miss Edwards and Miss Jeanette. You know, they have what, the Central Florida Association of Black Nurses, and they get out and they try to educate people about these health issues. Matter of fact, when I was pre diabetic, you know, I found that out from the Black nurses. So you know, it is something that, you know, we need to talk about a lot more, and you know, share different information, you know, with people, so that you know, they can kind of start to think about their health and how they're going to deal with it. All that kind of stuff is, it's you know, it's very, very, very important.
One other thing I would like to say, if Dr. Sankey, would you mention to them about the program we having tomorrow night
Oh,
that
yeah,
Judy is gonna?
absolutely. So Central Florida Black Nurses Association is having a program tomorrow night about heart disease. And it's a 1-hour program. It starts at 6 o'clock. It's from 6 to 7. I don't have the link right in front of me. I think it's on my other computer, but I can send that to you, Ted, and you can send it out. But
Okay.
our goal really is to continue to educate, educate, educate. Um, I was very excited when you said that you wanted to incorporate health into the Writers Guild, because as Dr. Yvette said, we need to talk more about it in our community. We need to do something more about it, take more ownership. Um, you know, Mr. Hewitt also talked about it. So I think, you know, we're on the right platform to talk about how to improve the health of our community. And so when I think about, we've been in a pandemic for the last year, and I think about the people most affected are those who have the chronic diseases,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so we want to say, how do we eradicate that? How do we reduce that? Because as they continue to talk about different variances and strains and things, if we can strengthen our immune system by eating healthier, getting the rest we need, and, you know, boosting it up, at least we have something to fight with. So that's
Right.
what we have
Right.
to really, and it does take discipline, but I think if you want to live, that's how I always say to people, do you want to live? You know,
Mhm.
you do whatever it takes and you leave the rest to
Mhm.
God, you know. But anyway, so tomorrow night, heart disease, 6 to 7. I'll send the information, Ted, and you can get it out to the individuals. And then just to really plug for my own business, on Saturday afternoon from 4:30 to 5:15, we talk about health and wellness on this same platform. So this is the Zoom number. If you want to come on, you're welcome to come on. This week we're talking about condiments and what it does to the brain and the stomach. And so you're welcome to come on.
Condiments, so what's that, like
Condiment,
ketchup?
yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spices, what it does to the stomach and to the kidneys and liver.
Okay.
That's
Question.
Saturday.
Saturday
Yeah.
at 4:30. And it's every Saturday.
And you host it every Saturday?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
All right. Well,
like I'm
send
speaking
out
this
those
week.
links.
Pardon me?
I just said send out those links, and
Okay.
I will send it out to everybody.
Okay.
Well, it's
I have something to say here. Ted, don't try to hog all the conversation.
okay. This is Dr.
Uh,
Arzu, what a professor out at what is that, the University of Central Florida. At least that's where he got his professorship at. All right, brother Arzu, go right ahead.
well, I have two things to say. For the people in the science department and the industry of medicine, what you think about the issue of medicine as a racism, the institutional racism, where they got one set of numbers for blacks, one set of numbers for whites. In other words, when they diagnose you or they treat you, they're usually using white people, which white people have different set of numbers in terms of genetic than us as black people. So we are being treated with white people mentality because of the industry is overwhelmingly white.
Okay, you like.
The second question is how being black in America, how that, because let's go back to before that, let's go back to slavery. We were healthy, we were doing all the work. Why is it that now we're the most diseased people in the world? What's the propaganda behind that? And how is it that black people continue to perpetrate that issue that now we sick people and we got all these diseases, and somehow white people are healthy. So I want to know how you translate that to black people.
I'll give that to one of the nursing professionals.
So I'll try to answer it, and I'm sure Ms. Edwards can help back me up. So the first question you had was regarding the numbers. In most research, granted, it is with Caucasians and other races versus blacks, because most times blacks don't participate in research. Frankly, if you send them a survey, they're not going to generally take it. And if
they have their reasons.
If you do an interview with them, they're going to tell you what they want you to know. So they're going to limit what they say. So that's part of it. But what I would say is the numbers are there, so we can use what is in place to get a ballpark figure of where we should be. There are no black numbers and white numbers. They're just numbers that we have as a standard that's being used in the United States and across the world for various tests. We can't change that other than when research comes up and opportunities come up to participate in research, we should do that so that we can have a better, so that we can be represented, let's put it that way, so we can be represented. So when you go to the doctor and they say your hemoglobin, your WBC or your hematocrit, whatever is they're going to use those numbers that they have in place. I don't think we can change that. The second question regarding why are we the most unhealthy, when we were working, back to the activity, we were in the fields working, strong muscles, getting vitamin D, using our energy. That's what keeps people well, believe it or not. Going to sleep at a reasonable time at night and getting adequate sleep keeps people well. Remember, we didn't eat from the king's tables when they were slaves. They ate probably the stuff from the field that they were picking, and that's the fruits and the vegetables and that kind of stuff. So it seemed like poor man's food, but it was actually good food. So I think we've adopted some of the habits of our counterparts. We sit behind a desk all day. We don't move. Someone else cuts our grass. Someone else, so we're not staying active. And so part of that is that if we do not continue to eat the right foods and stay active, our body is going to do, it's going to weaken. Our immune system will weaken. A lot of times we eat more than our body needs. I was talking to just Ted yesterday about eating 1 meal a day. Well, really it's recommended that people eat 2 meals a day. How many meals do we eat a day? Usually 3 or 4 or whenever, as much as we can, and we tax the body out. So all I'm saying is that I think that when it comes to being the most unhealthy, we can change that story. I believe we can change that story. We can change that. All we need to do is continue to educate and then be role models is my story. I believe that. because I just believe we can change it.
Yes, Ms. Bernice, you want to say anything?
I think, but most of it is, we don't have the participation in these research. When they're doing the research, we don't have as many people, and the research is really, all this medication and all these things are a result of how they react with, the other races as opposed to us. So I know we have, we're prejudiced against research, but I have participated from, personally, I have um, developed a better appreciation for doing research. So right now I'm in a study now for research, and this is about the second one I've been in. And I haven't had any reactions or anything like that. So
Well,
I don't have anything against it.
well, like the COVID, I thought I heard they said maybe I might be wrong, but they said only about 20% of African Americans are blacks. So had only about 20% of blacks have taken that COVID test or shot. I don't know if that's true or not. I thought it was probably higher than that. But they're saying that blacks are not really taking the test, and maybe that's because the COVID centers are not necessarily in the black communities, and then they say we've been guinea pigs before, and we don't want to be guinea pigs again. What do you think about that, Mr. Arzu? Arzu.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. The Africans, it has been they've done studies between the Africans in the continent and the blacks in here in America. The blacks, I mean the Africans in that term black doesn't apply to Africans. It's strictly American. The Africans in the continent, those people, they found out they're much healthier. They had less diabetes, they had less stress, and they have less heart problems. And the other aspect of that is the question you asked. Can you repeat that again?
I just said, what do you think about, I can ask you personally, maybe, have you taken tried that, the COVID shots? Have you taken them?
No.
No. Okay. Well, why haven't you taken the COVID shot?
Well, from what I read and what I found out, the pharmaceutical, the big three, those people, they went experimenting with Africans. They went to South Africa, they went to other places to experiment, because Africa is the lab for many of those pharmaceuticals, because the laws that apply in Africa, they're very lax, they're very loose compared to the American ones. So it's easy to go there and experiment with black people over there. So I believe, this is my opinion, that the health industry, because it's an industry and many people live off of that, is that the sickness, and why is it that the government all of a sudden will worry about our health? What is it in it, And why is this so-called pandemic, why is that pandemic is strictly US and we don't have a history of it, it doesn't come up from anywhere. Somehow say it came from Luhan, but we don't really know where it come from and what is it curing. So those are my questions that I still haven't gotten answered to.
So that's why you have not taken anything, and you're not afraid. You're not afraid anything like that.
I'm not afraid of what? What was afraid of? What's you being afraid of? I mean, it's only two things going to happen, right? Why live with fear? Because fear is a weapon the government uses. And why is it I'm going to be afraid of dying? Because I'm going to die anyway. Regardless, if it's your day, man, you can die on a drop of water.
Well, you want to take some kind of precautions too, you know.
Hey, it's your life. I'm talking about my life. So, you can do whatever you want.
All right. Well, I won't argue with you.
Ed, I'd like to make one other comment, and maybe one of the medical professions here. Different races do have different body chemistries. And like I said, this vitamin D deficiency may show up in one group, or iron deficiency may show up in one group. It'll be nice to see some research that we need to make adjustments just because we have a different body chemistry than the majority here to help our health. And I don't know how much research is going on in that area. But I think there is something to that, and I think all racial groups have some unique things medically that they need to do that's different from maybe the majority group or another group.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. I think, education, information is important for our people to know and trust that the research is going to be used to better their community, or how is it going to be used. And so I think the more we can do that, then we can get the data to show exactly how our bodies are different from our counterparts. So like even when Dr. Yvette was speaking about her father and they were giving him medicine and how it affected him, I had something very similar happen to my father. And I said, don't give him anything, don't give him anything, because his body's not used to that. And the amount you're giving him, certainly he's not used to that. And so, we have to be advocates for our family members because our bodies are different. And when they give you a prescription, you need to look at those side effects. Maybe you don't need the whole pill, maybe you just need the half of the pill, and sometimes you don't know that until you see how your body responds. But I have friends, and the stories are sad. They will take what they take what the doctor tell them, which is what they should do. But when they have a bad reaction, they're still taking it. It's like, stop, So, I think it's our job. I mean, we on this platform, just to hear the dialogue and the discussion, it's like, how do we organize ourselves more? I know Black Nurses Association, which me and Mrs. Edwards are a part of, we're trying to get the word out there as much as we can, but we need more voices in different places, different industries to also be saying, to join us in this mission that we have. But I would say another thing is, you're right, Ted, it's about 20% of African Americans who have taken the vaccine. We just got that information about a week ago with our organization and found that out. So, so it's only about 20%. But again, everyone has a choice. And so, how do you educate them so that they can make the right choice for themselves?
Yeah. I guess in my case, I'm around people quite a bit. I'm around people, as a guest educator in the school system, around a bunch of kids, and as a photographer, I'm at a lot of events, and so I felt the same. When it first came out. you know, I didn't necessarily want to take the vaccine, but I felt like being out there with all those different kind of people, you know, I just erred on the side of caution, I guess, as they say. However, you know, some people say, well, the stuff got the vaccine has something in it that they can trace you, and you know, all different kind of theories. Some people say that the hospitals get $3,000 every time somebody dies, so they trying to push it. So you hear all kind of conspiracy theories about it, and I don't deny that. I just thought I'd be cautious. I thought I'd be cautious. You know, I took, you know, like when we were kids, we took the polio vaccine. Matter of fact, I was like maybe 60 something when I started taking the flu shot vaccine. So, you know, you know, I guess we'll see what happens. But you know, I take the whole COVID thing seriously, and I also take it kind of with a grain of salt too. You know, so you know, but you know, I don't tell nobody not to take it, but you know, each to his own on that. You know.
Only thing I would say about anyone, whether you take it or not take it, keep your immune system strong. That's the most important thing, because remember that it's not only the COVID out there, there's so many other diseases that are lurking. So you really just want a strong immune system that it can fight for you no matter what comes at you. So that's what I would say. No matter if you take it or not take it, just keep your, sugar and stress and diseases, they don't match really well. So, but fruits and vegetables and nuts and grains and things that are healthy, sunshine, exercise, water, those things can strengthen your immune system easily. But I would say to anyone, just be mindful of what you can do. Like Miss Bernice said, what can I do to take care of me? Because no one can take care of you better than you.
Okay. All right. Well, we were gonna go to about 9, and we went a little bit over. And you know, I guess we'll close out by talking about a little about writing. I hope that you guys are, you know, I know all of us in here are not writers, but just like we want you to write a new end in health, we want you to write a new end in your own stories. Also, you know, I think that, you know, we have been denied a lot, and so many of our, you know, young people now, they don't think they need a education or a college education, especially, and as much debt that college education is putting on people. I don't know whether I would have been able to go at this time, you know, like they did years ago. You know, people going to school 2 years and come out with what, $90,000 worth of debt. So, but you know, we still need to learn as much as possible. Some people are doing a lot of YouTube learning. They could say even calling it YouTube University now. So you can go on the internet and pretty much get a pretty good dissertation on just about anything. So you know, I still encourage that. But you know, what I would say, you know, just try to write something daily. You know, if you're a senior, you know, just writing the experiences of, you know, some of the things that you did as a child, and passing that on to you know, young kids, you know, and
Hey, Ted,
yeah.
you know, nobody mentioned mental health in terms of, I don't mean mental health in terms of being crazy. I mean mental health in terms of exercising the muscle, which is the brain. you know, and many of us die before we get to the cemetery, you know, because of the fact that we stop using our minds, you know, we start using our sense of wonder, you know, we die before that because we're not curious anymore, you know. So you're speaking about the young people, you know, but remember, back in the day, it was illegal to teach anybody. It was illegal to teach Black people how to read. But Black people, if you notice, Black people, even though the law was ready, even though the law was in place, if you look at those brothers who came in the Reconstruction period that became senators, those were orators, all right? And they didn't go near any school. Just the notion that you believe that a school's gonna teach you how to be a human being is not gonna be happening. We always make that mistake that the school, as wide as it is gonna teach us how to be Black. It's not gonna happen, you know? And many of us believe so hardly in education, but you have to know the difference between education, indoctrination, and mental health. See, those are the things that we should be talking about in terms of how to benefit and how to benefit ourselves and how we become better human beings at any age.
Well, I think that's very, very, very heavy. I did speak about mental health a little earlier. I mean, it's really a major problem, a major undiscussed problem, you know. And us as Black folks, we are so repressed. You know, it is just it's major for us to come out and be really who we are. They got this new word now, critical race theory or something like that, and which Black folks talk about among ourselves all the time. But you know, white folks don't want to know what they have did or what their ancestors have did, and so now they're talking about, you know, just even probably something like segregation, and you know how white folks, you know, killed Indians and lynched Black folks. They don't want people talking about that. You know, but you know, but that is, you know, what a major point, I think, in you know, I don't like the term white that much, no way, white or Black that much, no way. I like to look at people as humans or their nation of origin or something like that. You know, either, you know, maybe look back a generation. I'll say, what are you, a white American? What are you, a Black American? If you check that out, you know, we all came, Black folks all came from Africa. Most all the white folks came from Europe. So why don't you call them European Americans, and we're always going to call us a Black American? And these are the kind of issues that, you know, America is probably really not ready for, you know. You know.
Excuse me, brother. America will never be ready for a race talk. They can't handle it. They're not prepared for that. Okay, they don't have the equipment. Okay, they don't have the history. They don't have the sense of strength in their psychic. A lot of them are spiritualists, you know, so they have a big issue. So the reaction is to ban it. You know, is put our head in the sand, and we don't want to hear about it. And the thing with white folks, because they got the power, they can determine a law that say you should not talk, and therefore we should be quiet and not talk about it. No, so we have to understand that there's a lady that told me, you know, and I read it somewhere. She was an ex-slave, and she said they might have our bodies. They might have mutilated our bodies, but they never took our minds.
Well,
And that's
well,
the thing we have.
uh-huh. Well, I think all of that. I think all of that is gonna change. It's changing, you know, because the minorities are taking over. You know, it used to be one or two white people could control 30 or 40 black people. In our communities now, you can, like when I went to Los Angeles, California a few years ago, I rode around all day long and I didn't see one single white person. I just say Spanish, mestizos, black. Then when I got home at that night, the first person I saw was Roger Mudd on the CBS News. And I'm saying, I haven't seen one white person all day. But, you know, here we got a white man on the news. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, all of that's probably going to change because I look at all the Hispanics here. I don't know how to see no white people around here. You know, they probably got all the good jobs somewhere, but in the communities, there are more others people and people going to start voting. You know, they trying to keep suppress the vote, but I think that you know that's going to change. You know, people going to start you know, seeing each other as humans, and you know, eventually, I don't think this is going to go on forever. All right. Anybody else got something to say? Anything to say? It's getting close to our time. All right, but anyway, Arzu, I appreciate your contribution. You know, it's very, it's very thought provoking. So so I appreciate your contribution and all that stuff, and it does have a lot of relevance, and you know, but I do think things are going to change, or are changing slowly, but certainly.
Well, the first thing is, remember, Juneteenth, man, Juneteenth is legal now. It passed today. Okay.
I don't know why they did that. I don't know. I mean, I think
there's
it's
a
more
point to it.
Huh?
There's a point to it.
It's commercialism. I think they want you to buy something like Christmas,
Well,
like they say.
America is a commercial country. Everything is about advertising. Everything is about consuming. Okay. So the more you consume, the more you help the economy. So, but it's only so much you consume. So what do? They try to make sure that you eat, and you keep still eating. Because, you know, remember, if you look at any Irish show, there's only 3 commercials that you're going to see. You're going to see food, you're going to see pharmaceuticals, and you're going to see lawyers. Okay? So there's a purpose for all that. So you have to understand what's coming at you. See, a lot of us not aware of the subliminal. A lot of us asleep at the wheel. A lot of us don't see what's coming at us. That's why we're sick, you know, because this system manipulates the mind, and that's where it's at, the mind, okay? They take your mind away, the body will fall. So many of us not aware of not letting in a whole lot of garbage into our minds. So you have to protect your mind, your psyche, because if they damage your psyche, that's why there's a lot of problems with Blacks in general, and whites too. They have damaged psyche. And sometimes you didn't even know why you did what you did, because you are an automata. Somebody came in and took your soul away and put something else in it. Sound like a real bad stuff, you know, that they've done in their life. But just think about it.
All right. All right. I guess we're going to close out. We're going to let Dr. Cooper take us out. Thank you so much, Arzu, for your comment. You always have have some interesting thoughts. I guess that they probably would call you a thought leader. All right, Dr. Jen.
All right, so I want to just say thank you again for allowing me to be part of your group this evening. I'm really excited about the work that y'all are doing in writing books. As I hear the discussions, there's a lot of topics seems like need to be written about so they can be captured in the books of history so that we can share with this generation, the next generation, and every subsequent generation. You know, my charge would be to live healthy, live well. It's not enough to live. You really want to live well, live your best life even now. But the way to do that is really preventing diseases. And and then if you do have a disease, how do you properly manage that disease so that you can still prolong your life? And so basically making choices every single day, every single meal of how you want to write your story of health. But I want to say thank you to our host, Ted Hollins, for allowing me to be on your platform. It is my goal, like I said, to write a book. And so hopefully I'll get a chance to join you again to hear your stories, and then that you can coach and help me as I write my story. Thank you again.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
One last thing, Ted. You're the
Yes, sir.
man. You're the man. If I would have not met you, I wouldn't be in the spot that I'm in today. So I want to